AN is a company that is known to hit home runs, and while that has been the case with the Odin 2 and the Odin 2 Mini, we are here today to find out if the Portal will be another home run or a foul ball. Either way, the Odin 2 Portal is a powerful, sleek, and comfortable handheld that is capable of playing basically any emulation available on Android, plus GameStream, as well as Android native games. Let's find out if AN smashed it out of the park with this one, or is it going to be a swing and a miss? Welcome back to Too Loud Tech, where I give you my opinion, and my loyalty to give you my unbiased opinion cannot be purchased by outside influence. This is a great device, most likely the best big Android emulation handheld thanks to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and AMOLED display. Super comfortable when sitting on the couch or at a table like your desk. It's wonderful for streaming, and if you watch until the end, you'll find out why it will not be staying in my collection. Accessories. So the first party accessories at launch were pretty good. They offered a grip, which I have here, and the grip is not completely necessary as it is quite ergonomic, but it does add another layer of comfort. The case, which I also have, is great and it's protective, as has been the case with the past Odin 2 devices cases. There is a small caveat, or big, depending on your use. The device does not fit in the case with the grip, which absolutely bummed me out. I know people are getting 3D printed screen covers in order to keep their devices safe while still keeping the grip on, and I'll insert a picture here from my buddy Digital Jedi, but we shouldn't have to go through a third party or a 3D printing service or finding files from 3D prints in order to get something like that done. It should have been offered as a accessory to purchase from AN from the get-go. There's also a dock from Odin, which I do not have, but if you have a USB-C dock like I do, you'll be able to get display out and some I/O expansion. Specs. AN offers 3 color options when it comes to the Portal: black, which you see here, white, and indigo purple. There are 3 options when it comes to specs, as is the general way for AN and their Odin lineup. There's the base, the Pro, which I have, and the Max, with the key difference being RAM and storage configurations. The base has 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage. Pro, 12 gigs of RAM, 512 of storage, and the Max, 16 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage. The key change here from the Odin 2 Pro and the Mini are the storage options. It's a lot more space, and that is a much welcomed upgrade. Now, as far as the rest of the specs, they are the same between all configurations. We have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, 8000 milliamp battery, Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.3. And side note, that Wi-Fi 7 is what makes streaming a pleasure on these devices. We have USB 3.1 Type-C and an SD card slot expansion, DisplayPort with an output of 4K 60, and Android 13. The total weight of the device is 430 grams. A tour. As you can see here, the Portal is gorgeous. A glass-wrapped front with a sleek design. It is big and it is beautiful. The RGB rings around the joysticks give enough customizability to make it feel like it represents your style. Nice curves in all the right places. And just all around, it's aesthetically pleasing to look at. Hand feel. It's mostly comfortable and fits in many hand sizes, which is great. The front is really smooth, but grippy in the rear, which we all like. I have more to say when it comes to this, but I'll come back to that later. Controls. The controls are really good here. The triggers are healthy and big. The shoulder buttons have plenty of surface space so that you know you won't miss them. The D-pad works as a D-pad should and has just enough travel without feeling sloppy or having false directions when sliding your fingers around. The face buttons are a nice size and are very responsive without any slop. And the joysticks are good. Granted, they are not full size still, and Odin is still using a better version of a Joy-Con size stick. I'm using the grippy caps on my joysticks, which I highly recommend picking up from AN. Pocketability and portal ability. No. This thing is definitely not a pocket-friendly device in any way. Portal ability? Close to being a negative as well. I mean, you can chuck it in a case, but make sure you don't have the grips on it, of course. And if you want to bring the grips with you, keep in mind it's a soft, semi-rubber type material, and I doubt how long it will keep its shape while thrown into a backpack or a sling while pressed up against other things. The portal is basically like carrying around a small child. Screen and sound. Ooh, that screen. Where do I start? That's where this thing really shines. Really, it's gorgeous. The panel AN used is phenomenal, and when I first powered this thing on and seen it, my eyes were in love. I like bright panels, and this one's no slouch. I often joke around with my friends and tell them I like to feel like I have the potential to get sunburn from my device's screen, and this one makes me consider using some sunblock. It's bright, and the blacks are dark. The colors are rich and vibrant. That 120Hz display, though not being able to use it in every game or emulator, when I do get the opportunity, it's so smooth. The sound is great and gets plenty loud, though I don't tend to use any of my devices with much audio, just enough to hear game cues without adding to the ambience of my home, which at most times sounds like a large orchestra of children that are completely out of sync. Key takeaway here, sound sounds good. Performance. In this area, the portal is no pushover. The Snapdragon can take advantage of all the emulators that are currently available and play them without issue, as well as Android games. It can play all the Android games that offer high refresh rates at their highest graphic option. A lot of other people in this space are using Winlator and even playing Windows PC games. And if that interests you, I would recommend checking out RetroTechDad, as he has some awesome tutorials on setting up Winlator. Performance is great, and for what's currently available, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is so mature and widely adopted that it has a lot of driver and community support to get a crazy amount of games running on it. My final thoughts, aka my rant. So, I didn't want to start this review tearing into AM or the portal and push people into thinking it's a bad device, because it's not. But I have some small gripes that I want to air out. Mind you, I'm a reviewer and I have access to way too many handhelds, so take this with a grain of salt. I find the Odin Portal to be my least favorite Odin 2 device, and I'll tell you why. First of all, this thing is massive. I mean, a freaking chunk. Not heavy, just long. I mean, reach out and beat your neighbor's ass long without ever having to leave your yard. It's a boomerang. It's wider than some x86 handheld PCs, just they're more powerful. Granted, I know somebody is going to say, but too loud, the Portal has way better battery life than any x86 device. And to that, I'll say, who cares? Surely not me. I have power everywhere I go, from battery banks to solar generators, down to 120 volt power plugs in my truck. Remember, I'm talking for myself here, guys. I don't play long enough sessions far away from a plug to make that a factor for me. Back to the size of this device. I have owned the Odin 2 Pro and the Odin 2 Mini Pro, and find both of those to be more comfortable. I like laying in the bed and playing the Odin while my wife sleeps. With the Portal, if I lay on my side, I feel like one hand is on the bed and the other hand is holding the ceiling fan. At night, it honestly feels like I'm holding a 32-inch TV. I have to say, at this moment, my favorite Odin 2 device is the Mini Pro. I'll end this by saying, what I'd like to see out of a successor would be full-size joysticks. If we're going to have a big couch device, which this is, let's have the most comfortable big couch device. I understood the stick choice in the smaller devices, but not on this mighty big one. I'd also like a newer Snapdragon chip, at least an 8 Gen 3, but better yet, an Elite would be great. That way we could take advantage of higher frame rates in Winlator and get good performance out of the upcoming RPS3, which is the PS3 emulator for Android. Plus, a little future proofing never hurt anybody. I don't want to run on So I'm going to just say the Portal is an amazing couch device, and I think many people will enjoy it. It's just not for me. We're not all the same, and that's okay. I hope to see you guys in the next video where I will give you my unbiased review. This is Too Loud Tech, and remember, you're here listening to a friend. I'm out. Peace.